Everybody, welcome back to my channel. About a year ago today, I was doing the same thing, but this year I'm going even slower than before, intentionally. However, there are some kind of boulders at the beginning of this trail where I held myself up by just with my hands pressing down. I didn't have that kind of upper body strength a year ago, so even that progress has been gradual, but absolutely measurable. The good news for most people is that Zone 2 is extremely achievable. I've almost hit my first mile with intermediate running and brisk walking, and you can tell that I'm sweating so much I can barely talk through it. But you can tell that this is working, you know, it's having an impact on my health. Plus, I don't know if you saw at least that one dove. I'm sure you did because I can see it on the screen. Plus, I get to see and hear nature. For many of you with whom I've walked, this is about our maximum pace. Sometimes, in the case of facing potential adversity, like for an example, it might rain today. I'm not too worried about it though. I would feel like that would be just another natural baptismal. So I just talked with a pretty close relative of mine, and they said they're no longer walking. And I think that's what got me into the position that I was in to begin with, a position of declining health. Remember, health is wealth. So yeah, we can be creative, find ways to manifest things. Or maybe you're just really lucky like me at getting all the deals that maybe you shouldn't have gotten. And then because you recognized it, you start getting more and more deals that are in alignment with what your life's purpose is. You know you're doing your life's purpose when you're making people feel better. I don't mean forcing them. I mean when you're helping people to feel better, you're making better people. And yeah, we, can't control one another's will. Likewise, we want to have our own free will to choose between being kind with one another or between being oppositely vulgar towards one another. The way we treat one another is usually pretty evident. And for a long time, I was treating myself to punishment in my exercises. There's this amazing character named David Goggins, and he's basically said there were three top tips that he would share for improving your running. One, your heart has to be in it. My heart's in it as long as it keeps going. Your zone 2 needs to be what you focus on. That's what I'm focusing on right now. I'm at 2.7 on a scale of 2.0 to 2.9. And for the third magical ingredient for the secret formula of becoming fit, stretching. So as adults, we don't practice a lot of the things that we used to practice, like going for a walk in nature. It can seem scary. As a kid, it seemed the same way. As an adult, it's only concerning to me that there aren't as many butterflies and other animals as there generally would be observed in years past. So what is body weight mastery versus, let's say, maxing out? Well, the way I've had it put to me that made sense was that if you're doing anything super strenuous, you're going to be building up something called cortisol in your system. So even though something's strenuous and we can get used to it, I mean, just for an example, look at any power lifter out there. Any power lifter can get used to something strenuous and doing something for maybe more reps than they thought were possible, and possibly more than should be possible, because our infrastructure is not meant to do repetitive one-directional movements. Like, as I'm stepping onto these surfaces, they're generally flat, sidewalk. On a trail, my ankles are ever shifting. That strengthens my tendons in different directions. So I'm on a sidewalk right now, which is somewhat limited, but amazingly predictable for someone like me who is starting out on the journey towards refining my prior versions all the way down to my lower levels of output, like, for an example, my heart rate. And so since I'm performing a heart rate based exercise, I'm at 2.6 right now on a scale of 2.0 to 2.9. And instead of taxing my heart rate, therefore resulting in dumps of cortisol, which takes a long time to leave the body when someone's not sleeping properly, for an example. Instead of doing that, I'm taking an easy walk, which probably barely scratches on introducing cortisol to me, because it's not a stressor. I know it's not a stressor because my heart rate stays relatively constant. It's at 2.7 right now. I'm going up a slight incline. So whenever we try new exercises that are demanding, the way we breathe, that's stress. And many of us can get that way even when we're watching television. Like someone could be watching this right now wondering if I'm going to say something that pertains to them. That anxiety, because they're thinking that I'm talking about them, can lead to increased heart rate, early organ failure, premature aging, all kinds of things. Check out this. I can't tell if you can see the blossoms. They're all kind of I don't know, light purple, grayish, and beautiful. Anyway, so to exercise at this level where we're getting our breath rate up, I'm at 2.9, you could hear. That's why I checked, because I was breathing harder, because we're going further uphill. But to be able to notice when our breathing is out of control, that's a good, surefire way to recognize if we're in the zone with or without a wrist device to measure any of the characteristics, such as a certain heart rate zone. I noticed there were a lot of videos about reverse dieting. All of that insight makes sense. I'm gonna just call it reverse exercising. Because in the beginning, again, I told you I was even running 5Ks every day. And now, instead of running them, I'm putting in the distance, sometimes twice the distance, and I'm doing it in a very specific way, a controlled way, at a lower speed even than is generally considered to be easy by me. So in other words, it should be a boring pace, but it's rather engaging to slow down. Look at the green hues. Look at the trail. I mean, even these flowers, looking for any kind of bees or here's something. Check this out. They don't look like honeybees. Here's that one, the one that flew off came to this next flower. Anyway, I get to see nature. Because I'm frequently in nature, I notice things that other people have sometimes forgotten even exist. And it was all in the interest of regaining my health. I'm at 2.9. It's possible just the subject matter that I'm passionate about and talking about it raises my heart rate. I'm sure it does. And because of that, the things that we imagine, even going into our sleeping hours, can cause us anxiety and trouble communicating, because in some cases we won't rest well. Well, the other day, in case you were wondering if I was going to talk about a subject or a person, the other day I got a text message from someone, and it was this time last year when the same thing happened under different conditions. And it pretty much told me that I was uninvited to a family gathering. Well, that definitely caused a change to my heart rate. It definitely caused a change to my energy, to my demeanor, but it only did it briefly, because I've been practicing the art of knowing that it's all knowing that it's all His will. There's still a deer here. I'm going to use the other side of the camera so you can see it better. So like I was saying, last year I had a situation happen to coincide with this time frame. And it took a toll. Stopping and seeing the deer, saying hi to the fellow travelers of this trail. I could be tied up with appointments, and I'd never have the time to take care of the things that ail me if that's all I did was dedicate my healing process up the line without taking responsibility. My heart rate's going up a little bit. I'm at 2.8, so I'm gonna focus on the last bit of this walk here. And until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff. So thanks again for tuning in. That was my second 5K for the day, although that was at a slow pace. But I still put in the steps, I still put in the effort, and I still doubled my output while possibly tripling my recovery and my progress. And that was in my On running shoes. I forget which ones these ones are called. The On CLOUDSTRATUS, I believe. And that was the number one thing that I should have done in the beginning of my running journey, was to get some shoes that were appropriate, that were amazingly capable of helping me to mitigate the impact that was occurring to my knees. And not everyone needs to do that, and it's possible that starting out at a much slower pace, I could have avoided all of that additional expense as well. However, in the world today where we have all of these situations where we can possibly better our efforts, my number one tip, whereas David Goggins would have probably said, run barefoot, run hard. You know, my number one tip is get some great running shoes, especially since you're going to put a lot of steps in those shoes. So today's video, I covered a lot of information, but the main topic was that was the first 100 miles in those shoes. It's been an adventure, and a half, and I don't think that it would have been nearly as pleasant without what I'm running in right now. So thanks again for the words of encouragement, the positivity, and just for interacting with one another in the ways that you have. Until next time, peace, love, all that old school stuff. Thank you again for subscribing. And if you haven't already, please engage either the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters is that you get out what you want to say. And hopefully, again, that contributes to us all succeeding in our abilities to communicate with one another. Thanks again.